Hi, my name's Tom. I'm the UN Youth South Australia President, and today I'm going to be talking to you about types of government and the levels of government in Australia. So the phrase government is probably a phrase you've heard throughout your life, but what exactly does that term mean? Government refers to the institutions in charge of and the methods by which a country or particular state is run and managed. Often, as is the case in Australia, a government will consist of multiple levels who all have differing jurisdictions and areas of authority. A good analogy would be to imagine the government like a tree, starting with a strong trunk, which holds up the thinner branches, which in turn holds up the much smaller twigs and leaves that make up the government as a whole. At the very smallest end of government, we have councils. They're responsible for far fewer people than other types of government, and generally focus on their local area. Councils are responsible for services such as libraries, waste management, maintenance of local roads and footpaths, local environmental issues, and a whole host of other things. They also decide and regulate how land is used, whether it be for housing, business, or a local playground. Council elections, unlike most elections in Australia, do not require mandatory voting and are entirely voluntary. Above councils, we have state and territory governments. They are much more powerful than councils and are responsible for everything not listed as a federal responsibility, from running hospitals and emergency services to building new roads and railways, providing public transport, and growing the state's economy. Each state has its own constitution and set of laws, which means no two states are quite run exactly the same. Unlike council elections, voting is compulsory in state elections, so every Australian citizen over 18 has their say. The trunk of our government tree is the federal government. They're responsible for the really big issues that affect everyone. They're responsible for foreign policy, such as trade and commerce, running and funding the military, environmental policy, industrial relations, maintaining the postal service, and providing social services, such as unemployment benefits and Medicare. The federal government also is responsible for broadcasting and communications networks, such as our ABC and regional emergency networks, that ensure that Australians are informed and know when they may be in danger. Sometimes it's unclear about whether a state or a federal government is responsible for an issue. When this happens, the two governments will negotiate to ensure the ideal outcome, which often results in the federal government partly funding state government activities. So over to you. In your everyday life, how do you think each level of government interacts with the activities you do?